Well, hey there, everyone, and welcome to yet another Player Spotlight. And this time, we've got the jungler from the Renegades. We got Lasbra coming in here. And Lasbra, again, there's maybe a lot that's going on, the trail up to Worlds at this point as we're looking towards the future. But we're not talking about that today. We're going to look instead backwards, I guess, and not just, hey, how'd the season go, but I mean real far back in terms of just finding out more about you. And so I'll start where, it makes sense to start. Where are you from, and where did you grow up? How was your life as a kid?
Well, I'm from Denmark, so I grew up there. I've been there since I moved to America, which was last year. Um, what was my life as a kid? I mean, I had a big brother, a big sister. I played a lot of computer. I played PlayStation 1, I think was the first console I played. And then I think we had an Xbox once, and we had Halo and some other games. I don't really remember. And then my brother got a computer, and we ended up having to share that computer. Played Counter-Strike 1.5, I think. The first,
way back then.
Yeah. And then it kind of just hold on, and I started playing Warcraft. I played StarCraft. I played all those old games. Eventually got into World of Warcraft, and I spent a lot of time playing that game, a lot of time. And then Smite came out, and I think one of my friends got a code when it was early alpha beta, and you needed a code to play. So yeah, then I started playing Smite.
So yeah, you were just a gamer through and through. And this is only because you're from Europe, and this is the way it always seems to be. Did you end up playing soccer or anything while you were over there, or were you just all focused in on video games?
Oh, okay. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the childhood, right? But I did a few different sports. I played badminton. I played soccer, not professional or anything. I just played in the club, around our neighborhood. What else did I do? I did gymnastics for a bit, and then I don't remember if I did anything else sport-wise.
It's a long list of things that you have done, and you're like, well, yeah, you know what? I guess that's enough. I did all these sports, gymnastics.
Yeah.
I played all these games. I guess jack of all trades, Lasbra can do it all that comes through. Although I don't know, maybe some of those skills. I don't know if you still have the gymnastics in you now. But if you can,
I don't think so.
You win Worlds. I want to see a splits. Either way, that would be very fun.
I don't think I can do
that. You had mentioned a long line of games that you had played before you kind of got into Smite. And were any of those prior to Smite, were you ever looking about and thinking about playing competitively in that, or was Smite the first one that you really made that jump?
I mean, I played World of Warcraft and got 2.4k, 2.3k on a few characters, which is somewhat high rating, not close to Gladiator though, where you need to get 2.7k plus. But I played Counter-Strike, I think Source and 1.6, and I did small tournaments. I didn't really think about going pro and all that, but it was cool to play Danish tournaments in those games. And then League of Legends, I played that a lot too, and me and actually Kuberfest's twin brother played League together. We did the Danish tournaments. We didn't end up winning them, but we ended up getting third place, second place and stuff. So I mean, I didn't really think about going competitively. No, not competitive in other games really.
So what made Smite different? What was it when you were playing Smite that you were actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this because I'm looking at it, and I had mentioned this to you, but looking at your history, you started a few years ago. When was it that jump really kind of was big for you? Where I can do this competitively. I will jump up.
I guess it's a bit of a longer story. Fred, Trix, they're my real life friends, and we've grown up together since we were young, basically 5 years old ish. And Trix, Fred were my best friends. And they played competitively since launch tournament, or even before that. They did all those small tournaments and all that, when the game was growing up. But I ended up being the first one of us to play Smite because I got the code before they did. So I actually played a bit of Smite and got account level 14 or something, but some of my other friends. And then because I was already diamond in League of Legends, I decided, like when Smite came out, I didn't really want to play that because I was already good at League. So I continued to play that, and then I would play Smite on and off with Trix and Fred because they would play like the game a lot. So I played that a bit, and then like season 2, I'll play like a lot of ranked. I hit masters. I don't know if there's grandmasters back then, but I hit like the highest rank with them. I played like duo queue, and at one point you could like trio queue in ranked, and they would just like take me under the wing and like kind of carry those games. But I ended up being pretty good as well, and they said that in season 2 I should probably have looked to play competitively because I was like, obviously I wasn't the best, right? But I was like good enough to probably get on a team if I like continue playing. But then I stopped again because there's like a new season that came out in League, and I played that, got like Diamond and Challenger in 3v3. So that's pretty cool to hit like one of the highest ranks.
Yeah.
And then season 3, I didn't really play Smite. And then season 4, I think I did a stream with Trix at one point. Like he was doing some Smite stream, and I was like at his home at that point. And then like a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you should stream. You're pretty funny, you know." Then I ended up streaming. I think I had like 10, 15 viewers the first time I streamed, which was like a huge boost. And then Trix would host me, Fed would host me. I think I got a host from Sepman like 2 days in a row, and there was like 1,000 viewers. I mean, you just started streaming. That's like pretty big.
That's huge. Yeah.
So shout out to Sepman. And then what did I do then? Then season 4, yeah, I would have spent like a whole year of streaming Smite ranked while I finished school. So I finished school in season 3, and then season 4 I got a job, and like I would stream whenever I get home or before work and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would move into a house with Trix and Fred, and then like at the end of season 4, I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna look to play competitively now, and I played a lot of jungle, so Fred was like giving me a few tips here and there. And then I joined like a minor league team with Joshi, Death Panda, Alexi, and then who would our support be at that point? I think Half Devil, but then he would join SK later. But yeah, we had Half Devil in the start. So like around season 4 is like when I started thinking that now it's time to go like competitive and Smite.
And I think it's funny because like you describe it, and like, you know, you were friends with them already, but it's got to be insane, at least from my point of view, to be like, man, you were playing with team solo mid players, like you're just hanging out with them normally, and like for you it was probably, you know, yeah, you're just playing with your buddies. But then from the outside, it's like, man, these guys are kind of, like you said, wildly successful. I mean, still playing Smite, even though Trix didn't move over, still, you know, pro level capable in terms of support. And of course you have to play against Cuvo all the time now, and I'm actually a little curious. I have a million other questions I could ask you, but I want to know, does that dynamic come up, like when you're playing up against Cuvo? Is there like a little bit of that friendship rivalry, like you want to do better than him just because you'd be like, yeah, you brought me into this, but now I own it? Or is it just kind of more the same? You turn the names off and you're just playing the game?
Well, was it 5? I was in the minor league, so I didn't really get to play against them. Season 6, I joined like the pro league, and then I didn't win against them the whole year in like the regular season. But I don't. How many times did we play them? I think 2 times Team Dignitas, and because we only had to play them 1 or 2 times each split. I guess we played them 4 times total, but we didn't end up winning a set. This year, unfortunately, I'm yet to beat him. So I haven't beat him yet.
Does he ever hold that over you? Like, is that ever something that comes up for you? Like when you're just like chatting otherwise, or is that just kind of the fun tally that you keep in the back of your mind?
I mean, we talk about it like a bit sometimes, just for fun. Like he's making a bit of fun of me, but that's how it is. Not being able to beat him.
Yeah. Well, hey. There's always more room. There's more chances. It's not done yet, Lasbra. You're gonna keep going. I believe in you. If anyone's gonna beat Cuvo, it's the longest redemption arc ever. It's essentially, I could see it being its own little storyline, a good show made out of this. And I want to know, like, you kind of, you know, like you said, you teetered on the edge of going pro before finally doing it. But then last year, as well as this year, you know, it's been a league where you're playing in the US, like you had to move in order to do so. And you had mentioned that you had lived in Denmark up into that point. So what was that conversation like? You know, you had mentioned like having an older brother, older sister, things like that. Was it kind of weird trying to explain to your family that you were going to go make money off of playing a video game in the US, or were they on board with it?
Um, well, I started making like this shift in like season 5, right, when we had to go to lands and stuff. But that was only for like a weekend or like a whole week. Um, but like yeah, basically my dad is like very supportive, and he's like, you probably won't ever get this chance again when you get older, so you should definitely go for it. And then my mom, like when I started streaming and all that, she was like, you can make money on that, and like, are you sure that that's like something you're gonna do in the future and all that? But now she's like supportive as well. My brother, like, he's a big gamer himself, so he's like obviously like very proud. And then my
Yeah.
sister, I mean, she thinks it's cool, and like I get to live in the US, so yeah, they're like all pretty supportive about it.
Well, that's always nice, right? I mean, I think it makes it a little easier. Like, I'm sure there's a little bit of homesick nature that comes with it, like of especially being in a different country. But knowing that everyone was very like supportive of it, and now that you've been able to find success here, playing in the pro league, and kind of, well, again, just make that money playing some Smite. It feels
Yeah.
good at that point. And I know that you've moved in and like you're really close with a lot of the team and the players and things like that. And so I want to know like how important is that behind the scenes stuff? Like when you switched to LAN, did you notice a significant change than it was playing on like the minor league when you were in Europe and with the teams that you had before that when you were online?
Yeah, I mean, everything gets like a bit more serious, and like I guess it feels like there's more into it. But I was also playing minor league before that. But
Mm-hmm.
even then, in the minor league, we were actually like a pretty serious team, and we wanted to like win and like go the whole way. I think we ended up also like winning both splits and qualified to the Worlds qualifier. So I feel like I've always been like on pretty serious teams, and like there's been very good dynamic. I cannot say that word. Dynamic. Uh,
Dynamic.
what? Yeah,
Yeah, there you
I
go.
cannot say that. I'm Danish. But yeah, like I guess like all of this, it's nice to have like people in the house that we like do the same stuff. We can talk after scrims. We make food together. Not every day, right? But like sometimes we cook together. Especially me and Harry, Verity. So it feels pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, is that like you had mentioned, kind of cooking and stuff like that? Like, what kind of stuff do you do outside of Smite to just relax? Like, are you still playing a lot of other games? Because I can imagine, especially during the regular season, right? Like, you've got your pro league games, you've got all your scrims, you're still probably scrimming a little bit, plus the stream. Like, I imagine there's got to be something you do away from the game just to find some relaxation.
Well, before COVID hit and the gyms were open, I was going to the gym in March. Since I'm in the US and like I'm trying to like stay really safe. Like I'm usually just staying in my house a lot. Don't want to go through that. Getting hit by COVID. So right now, I mean, well, I don't really do too much honestly. I started playing a few other games, and I'm gonna play a bit of Shadowlands, which comes out today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll play a bit of that, and then like scrims, stream. I started going for a few walks. It's very nice weather outside. It's like not too cold, not too hot.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but don't really do too much, honestly.
Yeah. Well, admittedly, it's like you said. There's not too much to do. It's not like you're just gonna
Yeah,
be able to go out and go see a movie right now. So not too crazy. But you had mentioned like cooking and stuff and things like that.
yeah.
Like, do you still do a lot of activities? Like when you go on a walk, do you take the team with you, or are there specific like things that you do, with the rest of the renegades, maybe to just hang out?
Yeah, well, Vin has dogs, right? He has Layla and Lakrit, so we take them for walks sometimes. Maybe sometimes me and Harry go for a walk. Sometimes we go for a walk after scrims, just talk about how the games went and all that.
Yeah.
Um, we have been out to eat like 2 times, I think. Um, yeah, we used to go to the gym
Oh
together,
yeah.
but they closed down, and
I get. Yeah.
I think they're open again, and then we decided not to go because of COVID.
Yeah. Well, hey, good call on that one, right? I mean, you don't want to have to again risk that not just for you, but also the team and everything.
Yeah,
Either way, I guess looking towards where things are going, you're in the pro league, which means by definition, no matter how you want to say it or anyone wants to say it, because I know you're actually pretty humble about this kind of thing, but you are one of the top junglers in the world, whether you like it or not. Like you are up there, and so I want to know, does that ever like get to you outside of game? Like, does that ever come through where you're just like, man, like, maybe you had a bad game and you're just like, man, if I had done X, Y, or Z, this could have gone better? Or do you kind of let it wash over, like, okay, you know what, the game's done, let's just move on to the next one?
I mean, it kind of depends how much like ranked and stuff. Like if it comes down to ranked, it kind of depends how many games I play and all that, and like how the games go. Because I mean, you could always play a game better. There's always something to improve on, whether it's like a small thing or big things and all that. But usually it's just like maybe I can get like a bit frustrated in game on my teammates or myself. But like after a game of ranked or even scrims and stuff, I just like after it's over, right? I'm not gonna think about it the next day and like keep like looking down it. So usually I don't really tilt that much. So I just like wash it off and then on to the next game.
Hey, easy peasy. In fact, that probably makes it easier to team with you, right? Is just to be able to make sure, like, hey, you know what? Like, we know for a fact we have at least one non-tilt factor. Like, Lasbra's going to be able to come in and be fine no matter what. And this is the interesting thing because you're a jungler, so you are one of the most important roles, at least as of right now, in Smite in terms of making these plays. But I'm looking over and, like, you've done at least a little stint as a mid laner, and so I want to know, like, did you always intend to play in the jungle? Like, did you end up there because of necessity or out of want? Like, how did you end up playing where you are?
Season 4, I think I would honestly play a bit of every role. But I think jungle is pretty good for ranked. And I don't know, it ended up being like the most fun when I was playing ranked in season 4. And then I guess because I practiced that role so much, I would end up getting a spot as a jungler. But in season 2, I would play like a lot of solo lane, and I'll play like quite a bit of AD carry. I'll play like a lot of Freya and Apollo. And I love to play Jing Wei as well. But I don't know, I guess I don't really mind what role I play. But obviously, I have to take a lot of practice to switch to a role now at this point and at this level.
So it's kind of sticking around with the jungle for a little while. Don't feel like going anywhere else anyway. It seems like you've been happy in it so far, so might as well stick there. And this is actually kind of like, you have a lot of gods that you can play in the jungle, but do you have a favorite god in the game? And like, what is it that makes them your favorite god?
It switches around a bit. It comes down to, I guess they also have to be in the meta and they have to be like somewhat good. But I think the god that I like the most, god, I don't know if it'd be Pille or if I would go to like a carry like Jing Wei. But Pille, let's say jungle, I mean, she's not really that much meta right now. She doesn't get that much play in the league or in ranked or anything at the moment. But she's like high burst. She can like make pretty good comeback, pretty like good turnaround even when you're low health, especially because of her passive, right? So she always has like those play potentials that you can make, and I like that a lot.
Hey, if it makes her fun, it makes her fun, right? And again, it fits perfectly for you. You're one of the few, as you had mentioned, she doesn't get played a lot in the pro league, but you're the one that's playing her, right? You're the one that makes sure she gets that debut, and that's the I guess the fun part. You at this point have played a ton of games for a ton of different teams, whether it was minor league, pro league, what have you. Do you have one in your mind that was like an important game or just a really good memory of a set or a couple of games that stick out to you throughout all of that?
Yeah, I think my ever first minor league game in season 5, we practiced like I think 1 month prior to the first game, and we would at that point play the two best teams from the previous year, which would be Victoria's Secret and Puppies. And then we end up going into that set. I think we end up 2-0 both teams, and I end up playing like red in 3 of the games. And prior, like in scrims and stuff, I didn't end up playing red in scrims. So I was like, okay, I know how to play this guy. This guy looks good here. Just pick it for me. Just believe in me. And then we just end up like smacking them around. So that's pretty cool. Like, I don't know. I always had like that, like Ratatosker.
Well, even
so I guess
now,
that's like
he stands out, right? As one of your like top gods and top performers. And it all came from one game years ago where you were just like, you know what? He looks good here. Trust me.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's like at least like a memory I have about a god, and like I guess we end up winning as well. That's pretty cool.
So, I mean, that's a great memory to have, right? Especially
Uh,
now, like, and maybe this is projecting. I don't know if this is true, but I imagine there's always a little more brightness when you lock in Ratatoskr. Like, it's gonna be associated with that. At least in my brain, it would be, right? Where it's just like, you know what, this will make this set work a little bit easier for me.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's true.
So, at this point, again, you've gone through a couple of years technically on LAN, although this year, we'll put the quotation marks around it, the LAN that has come through for the Pro League. And, I'll say, what's your goal for this year? And that is whether it's Smite, obviously winning the World Championship is a pretty big one. But, like, what's the checklist for Lasbra to do by the time the season ends?
Well, obviously, when I win Worlds, a lot. My goal going into this year was play on a stage, which would be like, the cups and that. But that unfortunately got like, what do you call it? Aborted. But
Yeah,
did
it
right,
got
I don't remember
2020.
yeah, exactly. So, but there's always next year, and next year I'm gonna be on a stage playing. But for this year, I mean, win Worlds. I also had a goal like prior to getting to the US again, like go to the gym, get like a good schedule going, and like eat healthy. Haven't really kept up on that, which is kind of unfortunate. I really wanted to go to the gym, and I know you can always like work out at home and stuff, but I don't really have the same motivation for that.
Yeah.
So I mean, win Worlds, that's kind of like the only big goal that I have right now. What I put all my focus into.
Hey, 2020 win Worlds, 2021 the rest of that, the healthy, the gym stuff. Well, ideally,
Yeah.
if things go well, we'll be able to kick that
Hopefully.
one off. But hey, Lasbra, it's been appreciative having you hang out with me and talk with me for these last few minutes. And I do want to, give you the opportunity though now to let people know where to find you, whether it's Twitter, your stream, obviously to plug. Just where can people follow you and find you on the internet?
Wait, I need to check my Twitter. My Twitter is at LashbroGG, because I couldn't get Lasbra for some reason. I think there's like some old Twitter account that has that username. On Twitch, it's /Lasbra. I don't really have a consistent stream schedule right now because I've been a bit lazy when it comes to streams. I used to stream almost every day for a lot of hours, but now I'll tone it down a bit, especially when we have scrims or double scrims. I don't really feel like streaming that much. But /Lasbra, and then on YouTube I have a YouTube as well. I think you just search Lasbra and you can find that.
If you're curious how to spell that one, well, it's right down there, Lasbra, and then add the GG if you're going to Twitter. I'm sure on Twitter you can then find everywhere else as well. But make sure you follow Lasbra around, and of course here you can subscribe for more videos like this one. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, and hit us up on Twitter at SMITEPro or in the comments for who you want to talk to. Again, Lasbra, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks everyone for tuning in. See you in the next one.